Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. My name, of course, is Orbit Potato, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about something that has just happened. So, as you may be aware, XCOM Enemy Within is a series that is ongoing on my channel. Now, I recently released an episode titled Thin Men. Now, this was supposed to be an episode that featured the Thin Man, or the enemy called Thin Men. In fact, it did not. Now, that was partly my mistake, but also a mistake that the game made, because what has recently happened is XCOM Enemy Within has done something that I don't quite understand. Right, so I recorded an episode. I recorded the episode that went up, and that was called Thin Men, even though it was titled badly by me because it doesn't actually feature any thin men in. I just made that mistake. But the subsequent episode that I recorded just after recording that episode that went up, that featured a fantastic, amazing battle that involved very many close escapes. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had to extract this guy from a point, and it was really good fun, and I really did enjoy it. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And you know, a week later, or however later it was, when I tried to access this episode, I clicked on it and I tried to watch it back, and no, the entire file had corrupted. Now, I have no idea why it did that. This is the only instance in which my recording software has actually given me a corrupted file. Only. And today, when I go to boot the game up to record the next episode of XCOM Enemy Within, you know, I was going to give you guys a little bit of an explanation as to why the last episode hadn't been up. I go and I have a little look at it, and wow, there we go. Failed to read save game. The file may be corrupt. So, literally 2 months into the game, and my save file is already corrupted. Now, I'm well aware, right, that I've got other saves. I've been very specific to make sure that I save all of the points at which I've recorded and saved the game and whatnot, but there is somewhat of a sadness in the fact that I will not be able to show you guys that footage. Now, not to mention the fact that if I was to re-record it, which I did think about doing, then that would lead to a sort of substandard experience, but also the fact that there's a likely chance that it would corrupt again, because not only did it corrupt my save game at the most latest point, but it also corrupted my recording. Now, that doesn't seem like it's something that happens often, and it may or may not be correct, or may not be correct. It may or may not happen again in actuality, but unfortunately, there's just, you know, I don't want to be playing a game that I could potentially record, I don't know, 6 hours of footage on, and then suddenly realize that 3 of those hours, or 5 of those hours, or even, you know, 2 of those hours, or 1 of those hours was corrupt. That is not fun. That is not a productive use of my time, and it is not a way that I can produce high quality content for you guys. So I actually think, unfortunately, that is going to be our XCOM Enemy Within series coming to an end. And believe me, I was enjoying the game. I really wanted to continue with it, but I cannot see the point in continuing a series that has the potential to give me this error again, because as much as I would love to continue and do it, I think the risk is just not as great as the reward. So unfortunately, this is going to be our XCOM Enemy Within, you know, story coming to a close here, which is a real shame. If you've got any suggestions on what I can do to fix this, is there any mods? I mean, I know the Long War mod, that does some stuff, but apparently that's also fairly buggy. I don't know how I fix this. Do you have any suggestions on how I can fix this? Also, do you have any suggestions on how I can, you know, work around this? Perhaps there's a way I can work around this. But I've not got my hopes up. And finally, if you've got any suggestions for any other games that I can play, then, you know, be sure to suggest them, because I will play them. I'm thinking about starting up an XCOM what's the one called? The Bureau Declassified or whatever that one is. That looks fairly good. So I might give that one a shot. And I think I've got it in my Steam library. So got the opportunity to do that one indeed. But it's a real shame that this has happened, and it's a real shame that you guys will never get to see the fantastic battle that I got to see, which was probably the most thrilling battle, I think, in the series so far. As I said, it was great. I mean, it was so close. We had a guy that was bleeding out. He was 2 turns away from bleeding out when we completed the mission. In fact, no, he was 1 turn away from bleeding out, and we just killed the last alien or something. I can't really recall, but it was fantastic. It was a great fight, and I will forever be apologizing to you because I was unable to bring you that fight. But unfortunately, you've just got to understand that you know, the circumstances that are shutting down this series, so to speak, are out with my control. I cannot define why my game file went corrupt, and I have no idea why my recording would go corrupt. That does not make sense to me. But unfortunately, I just can't justify keeping this series around. If it's got the potential to do that, then that's just a risk that I'm just not willing to run. I mean, there is a lot of other great games out there, games that don't corrupt their own save files, and games that don't corrupt my recording save files. So we'll be sure to play them. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, suggest games. Give me some workarounds potentially. That would be great. But for me, and for now, my name, of course, has been Orbit Potato. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!